I should have made something like a lesson plan, but I didn't. So I didn't come here prepared with a lesson plan. But, an interesting, what do you call this? An interesting method that I, just had thought of recently is how, you know, maybe approach it like how a teacher would approach it. You know, how would a teacher communicate? How does a teacher provide a class? Because, well, through these videos, I have been sort of like trying to teach myself, right? I am trying to teach myself. And so, wouldn't it also stand to reason that, you know, I should approach this like how a teacher would teach his student. Um, and the student in this scenario would be myself. And the teacher would also be myself. So, you know, and so far it's been working. I don't know if, when I listen to this, if it'll be, you know, do I sound like a teacher or not? Well, right now I'm not sounding like a teacher, but, it just sort of helps that, you know, while I am talking, I imagine that I am. I imagine that I am in fact a teacher, and maybe I'm not college, a graduate in education. Technically we are a college graduate either way. So, even though it is not much, in paper we are. You know. So since you do have that sort of certification, a diploma, then why not approach the situation like that? You know, why not try to approach the situation like you are actually qualified? So, you know, you yourself feel that you aren't qualified. You believe that, you aren't qualified because you yourself know that there are a lot of holes in your knowledge. There are a lot of things that you can do wrong. And there are so many things that you're just painfully aware about yourself that makes you believe that you are an imposter or you are a failure. But, you know, that's just you. So that is just in your head. So you're not that much of a failure. You just haven't achieved great things yet. So failure to achieve great things doesn't mean that you are a failure. You know, you just haven't achieved the great things that you want to achieve. You know, when is when do you think is the proper time for one to be considered a failure? When is the right time one can be considered a failure? And our answer to that is, well, on his death, really. So no one alive is really a failure. So, your failure is, it is all just psychological. You know, you felt you felt that you failed. So your reality, follows because your mind thinks that he has failed, and your body, your entire reality believes it as well. But you are not a failure. All right. You are just someone who hasn't achieved greatness yet. You're just someone who, you know, hasn't produced results yet. You are just someone who, you know, hasn't um, achieved the results like others did. But that doesn't mean that you are a failure. It just means that it just means what it does, what it says, what it says. You just haven't achieved them yet. There's no need to put a word on that phrase. There's no need to put a word on who you are, Just state the facts and do not describe yourself. What are the facts that have happened? So the fact is that we haven't achieved what others have. That doesn't make us a failure. Maybe it does in other people's definition, but we shouldn't put a word on ourselves like that. Okay? So save ourselves the trouble of hurting ourselves, overthinking and all of that stuff. And so we still have quite the minutes left. So, let's just put in the time, put in the hours, ask the teacher, I should be able to prolong this conversation. Think of it as like being on the clock. So if we are paid to be here 10 minutes, then we will be here 10 minutes. No excuses. From our previous video earlier, I believe that I ran away from my post because, well, um, it felt like, it felt like, what do you call this? I lost myself there. Like I got myself out of topic and I just panicked and, I decided to stop the video, but that is not something that a teacher would do. So a teacher would never run away from, their class. And so that is what we will be doing here. And it is also not enough that, you know, I don't say anything proper. So even right now, I am constantly running so many um, trial and error mental frameworks in here. So I am trying to see which frameworks work and which doesn't. And it's sort of like a filter. So what I am saying right now is already a filtered version of what is in my head. So it starts with a thought, then uh, mental framework, and then I say it. So, well, it's kind of idealistic, but that is how I will describe it. Not that that is any important. Anyways, there are people around, and I actually feel, shame in what I do. I'm shy at what I do, but that's just because we aren't used to it yet. And so we just have to get used to it. I don't think that, I'll do it like how other people do it. They do it in public, they talk in public as a way to show that, it's, I admire those kind of people, but I don't think that would be necessary at all, forcibly trying to talk in public. Although public speaking is good, being the center is, I don't know, just too much for me. So, but huge respect for people who are able to do it. I wish I would be able to do it, but it doesn't make sense to me. And if it doesn't make sense to me, then, you know, I shouldn't do it. I shouldn't do it for now. But if my mental framework allows me to make sense of it, then I don't see why I shouldn't be able to do it sometime. And so I guess that we have passed the 10-minute mark, I believe. I'll just provide a few more seconds so that to ensure that, it's really the 10-minute mark. And so, I guess that I haven't really said anything or something that is really life changing on this talk, but, uh, maybe on the next class, we will be able to talk about, something that is much better. So yeah, I guess that these sessions, these videos that I make are a sort of a class, right? And I will be attending my own classes every single day. Wow, that's just crazy. But I think uh, that is an interesting way to look at things. These videos that I make are going to be something like a class, and I'm the person creating the class, and I'm also the person attending the class, which is romantic. Yeah, that's just there's something romantic to that idea. I know, poetic, sort of poetic. So yeah, I guess that I passed the 10-minute mark, and see you on the next class.